We're Steph and Travis, Canadians who didn't know much about sailing. We didn't let that or a global pandemic stop us from living our dreams, and we've been winging it ever since. We took off from Toronto and made it to Grenada in year 1, and we've got no plans on stopping. Subscribe to join our life on the water. Thanks to our patrons who keep the dream going. After an amazing time in the BVIs, we're back in St. Martin to stage for our crossing. Another quick project we want to get out of the way before we do the crossing is to repaint our non-skid on our decks. If you recall, back in Grenada, we painted our non-skid with KiwiGrip, and we didn't do that great of a job. The humidity level was just way too high. It was way too hot to get the right texture, so it was a little slick, and I did take a little bit of a fall. So definitely just want to make sure our decks aren't super slippery. Since we have leftover paint anyways, just want to get that done so we have a little bit more peace of mind when we are underway during the crossing.
Another job I'm about to do is add another membrane. And back in Florida, we went and bought a Seawater Pro Watermaker, which we totally loved it. I couldn't imagine going throughout the Caribbean without a Watermaker. Like, the water's always in between 180 to 200 parts per million, and it's super tasty. Like, I didn't want to put any other water in our Watermaker just because it makes such good water. But we figured on a crossing, and not just the crossing, but we run our generator for 3 hours every 3 days because our tanks are only 60 gallons, and we run through that literally in 3 days because I like to wash the boat. We're not stingy on showering or anything like that. Like water, we use it. So I think it'd just be better if we can run the generator less, you know, bug a lot less people around our anchorage with it. If we're adding another membrane, we should be about close to 40 gallons an hour, which literally an hour and a half or an hour and 40 minutes, we should have a full water tank, which is like awesome. And then it puts half the strain on our generator. It's good all around. So I'm going to install that now under the bed here, and yeah. The previous owner removed the floor in our portside locker. It allows a little bit of water to get in here, but it just leaks down into our quadrant right over here. But it's not a big deal. This is where I have installed our first membrane, which all I gotta do is cut a bigger opening and slide the second membrane in there. Then it'll lead all back to our panel, which is right under here. Got the back all ripped out, going down. Have to see how it all fits first. Should have measured. It's kind of my only option. I don't have high pressure hose long enough to change up a lot of things, so I have to try to figure out how to make this work. So I got it all hooked up. That's right here. Membranes in there, they tie together. Pretty easy, like super easy to do. It's just my problem was getting it to fit. What you want to do right now is just run it, because the one membrane is going to have a bunch of brine in it, or not brine, it's going to be pickled. So you got to run that out for like half an hour before you can get it into your tank. So what I'm going to do now, and then that's good too because you can make sure like nothing leaks. It'd be cool to see how many gallons an hour we do too. So hit the boost pump, hit the main pump. Hopefully I plugged everything the right way. Now I'm just gonna go check the back here, see if it's leaking. So that's gotta run all that pickling out first, I think. But that's crazy. 39 gallons an hour right now.
We watched another YouTube channel that almost sunk their boat on one of their passages, and by the time someone got to them, they the fishing boat had this stuff, and it's an underwater fiberglass repair. You can literally mix it, 2-part mix, slap it to the hull where the crack is or the bust, and it actually sealed and saved their boat. So I think this should be on everyone's boat. So I think I found a solution to our busted Autopilot quadrant bolt. So this links your quadrant arm to the ram arm, and ours sheared off. The only issue with this is you have a 12.5 mil diameter threaded side, but a 12 mil pin side. So I've been having a heck of a hard time trying to find an exact 12 mil bolt threaded all the way through. So this is what hopefully my solution to our bolt is, because you can order these. They're in the UK for like 90 bucks, which is a bit pricey. So hopefully this works. Because what I want to achieve is the pin side. This is where you want no pressure. You want it just to sit there and not move. But since the hole in my quadrant arm is 12.5 mils, not 12, I need to be able to lock this bolt so it doesn't move at all. I think this is the way I've figured out how to do it. The ram arm goes here. I adjust it to it's perfect, nice and snug. And then this part is going to go through the quadrant arm where I tighten it down super hard so the whole piece doesn't move. Because you don't want any movement in the quadrant arm or where the linear drive ram is. Because movement in the metal, you'll fatigue it and then it'll break again. So let's put this in and see if it works. And then hopefully I was filming because I couldn't see.
Oh, you had a little mirror?
I think I'm pretty happy with that. I feel like that's 100%, if not better than the original.
Ignore the mess, needs to be cleaned. It's spotty. So this is where on the original it's a 12.5 mil threaded part that goes through this quadrant, and then it goes to a 12 mil through the eye of the linear drive head. And the reason you just don't want to shove a bolt through the whole thing is because it needs to have play here. Otherwise, if you don't have movement here, you're putting too much pressure on this part and it's going to fight the whole system. So that's why it's very important this needs to be free. But you want this part to be solid. So now I have the linear drive arm freely sitting in there, and then I have this bolt pinching down on this bolt, which now that it's only 12 mil bolt going through here, not a 12.5 mil, it doesn't matter because these are pinched. And then you go to the top, this bolt is also pinching, so they're all working together on each other. So it's solid, but you still get a little bit of movement in the arm. So it's free.
I feel pretty confident with that. That's the best solution I've figured out yet. So there's no rounding of the metals, nothing's working against each other, and it only cost €5. It's a little dirty. So I'm pretty happy about that. It just saved us $85.
We attended a seminar that was held by one of the boat stores here in St. Martin about crossing the Atlantic, and they also deployed several expired life rafts.
The first one expired back in 2004, and the second one, the date's a mystery.
It's going to need a really, really hard pull.
Here goes the instructions. Work on her.
Oh, it's gonna explode. Gonna blow? Is it gonna blow?
Going down. Sound like you guys understand.
Children.
I'm pretty sure this is what we have. Plastimo transatlantic, and now I can actually see what we're looking at. This is only in dire situations, but I think we'd be able to make this work
I think
if we
a
had to.
six-person was good because 6 adults in this, no. But me and you, I think it would be, you know.
Well, yeah. For the last couple weeks, we've been using our Iridium Go and going through all the parameters of our boat polar and everything I need to set up so we can have proper weather routing. Although I don't think I'm going to use the weather routing like precisely. I'll use it as a guide because it'd be impossible to follow it exactly, but more or less just for the weather is what I'll be using, or predict wind offshore. So I'll run through some things that I've been doing for setting the parameters on the download, because you don't want to download everything. The file size would be way too huge and it'll take like forever to download. So you want to try to get your overall kilobytes under 200, and if it's under 200, even better. If it's under 100, great. It'll only take you 15-20 minutes to get something, hopefully. But I'll show you what I've done here. So this is already a GRIB file that I've already downloaded, and I've made it as big as my whole route. So right down here, this is where St. Martin is, and we are aiming towards the Azores, Horta, over here. Since I've kind of already have everything set, I'll just kind of show you what I do here. So we're going to do a weather departure route right now, which I have it set up right here. Start time to instead of now, which would be the day of at the time of. I'm going to be using ECMWF and Spire. Apparently these are the two best weather predictions for offshore. PWG and PWE are really good for coastal stuff. UKMO is a fairly new one, and apparently they're pretty good too, but you'll see if I click that box, it puts my kilobytes, my full file size, brings it up almost 100 kilobytes. And you're trying to keep your full file size as low as you can. So anything under 200 kilobytes is usually pretty good. So I'll keep that one out for now. Just go ECMWF and my Spire. Now I'm going departure planning. Just went through that. So press next. We're going to have our GPS tracking for our patrons and family and friends at home who want to follow us. File is usually 1 kilobyte, so it's nothing too bad. Now you got a bunch of settings up here. Obviously we're going to be going on right here, which is Iridium Go, because that's what we're going to be downloading from. And then it just kind of tells you everything here. It gives you a rough number, like departure planning, estimated 10 kilobytes. Usually that always doubles or triples, but the wind, wave and gust and pressure, they're pretty accurate. So I'm going to download all of this. Really excited that the weather window that we're getting looks, in the last couple days, looks pretty stable. So I'm really hoping we can leave in a couple days, because this is a huge adventure for us. Really excited. Well, this does its whole download thing. I'll show you what Steph's been working on.
I am trying to make as much food as I can to limit the amount of use of power when we're underway. So I'm pre-making things like waffles, for example. So instead of turning on the waffle maker, which uses power, we are freezing them. So if we crave waffles, because we love them, we will have them already made. And we've frozen a lot of cooked food already, and we bought a lot of pre-made frozen meals from the grocery store here because there's a really good selection. We're not using things like the microwave when underway, so anything that we can warm up using propane through our stove or our oven, that's ideal for us. What's happening, Travis?
It doesn't want to be a generator right now.
We started it and then it turned off like 30 seconds later. Tried
Yeah.
it again, turned off again, maybe 45 seconds later.
Yeah, like, I haven't really shown this thing much love. I've pretty much just used it hard and put it away wet. But I know the carb could probably use a cleaning. But at the same time, we're leaving tomorrow morning. And this is the only way we can make water. We can't exactly turn on the motor and run the Watermaker because the Watermaker will take on 12 volts. Like, it takes like 140 amps.
No, we need that thing to work.
And this has to work. But I don't have time to pull it apart to get it to work. Like, it's going to take me a few hours just to figure that out, if it is the carb, and if it doesn't work. Because like right now, I'm thinking like, do we go buy another one while we're here and it's 110 volt system? Like once we get to Europe, there won't be a 110 volt generator. Yeah.
Probably better it happen now than later and better safe than
literally,
no water.
If we ran out of this, like we'd be really trying to. I feel confident enough I can put it back together, but I just don't want to do it underway, and I don't want to do it like literally hours before we're going. When today's our last, like we have the last like few hours to get one, and this has been on my mind. I'm not kidding. Like I don't want to tell you, but it's like it was my sixth sense of like what would scare me the most of crossing is like not being able to make water because our tanks are small, and I was like worried about this guy the most. So the fact it's acting up right now, I'm thinking we might have to go spend some money.
Okay, end of the clip.
All right, we gotta Google some stuff.
In the meantime, I'm just gonna unpack some of the fresh stuff that we got. I think we have a good amount of fresh stuff for the first little while, as long as it lasts. Planning to eat relatively healthy for the first little while with all the fresh stuff, and then the end of the passage, or I guess before we make it to the Azores, we'll probably just be snacking and stuff.
My insides say get the generator for how invaluable it is. Like we're crossing an ocean.
But the cheap in you goes, no.
I know, the bloody cheap in me, because I'm like, well, what if it still works and it's fine? Then we, saved $1,000. And if we do buy another one and it still continues to work, now we've got two bloody generators, and what do we do with a 110 volt generator to like sell in Europe? I'm like, maybe. But it's like,
the one we got was a good deal. It was only like $400.
Yeah, it was a wicked deal.
And we've used it. Cost per use, I think we like used it.
I know, but then we just spent like a Watermaker again, membrane, and another fucking generator. I don't know. My bloody insides say get one, because literally if that thing craps bed in the middle of the ocean, like that money wouldn't have even thought about spending.
Mosey.
Like if we had that like a 200-gallon water tank, I'd be like, yeah, we'll chance it because we could make it last. But the fact we only have 60 gallons, I know we could make it last, but it would be a big adjustment for us to like.
No, we don't need
super stingy
a
on
huge
water.
adjustment like right before crossing. Just buy it. Of course, we always have the standard safety equipment ready, like our EPIRB, box of flares, ditch bag, jack lines, and tethers. We picked up a 6-man life raft back in Martinique as well, the same one you saw us get into earlier in the video. Dinghy's going up, and that about sums up our prep work. We'll be departing bright and early in the morning. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss next week's episode. We're leaving the Caribbean and on to a new chapter in adventure. We're heading east across the North Atlantic. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the other side.